let's go on to A, guys. We're gonna talk about the Carabobo Crogunks and Gunk, and where we had them on power rankings. We had them actually at number 11, and Gunk is sitting at number 12 right now with 0-8. And I just want to emphasize this. I don't think it's because Gunk is a bad coach at all. Honestly, I think everyone in A is a really great coach, just respectively. But I don't think he was ready for the competition in A, and he's just trying to have fun. He's a really good sport, so.
Stark difference for leagues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a last second replacement.
Exactly.
With, initially, it was Aaron, and then.
Yeah, and then he ended up dropping, and then we got.
Yeah.
The thing about, like, this is what I've kind of determined from A-League is that most of the coaches in A-League are kind of seasoned in the case that we've all kind of played each other. We know how each other plays. With a newcomer coming in, like, they don't know how their opponent plays. So unless they watch like the replays and stuff and watch them play and whatever, we've all played against each other, so we know how we play, and we can kind of pick up how each coach plays from there and kind of work around that. But with newcomers, it becomes a little bit more difficult. They're kind of blind going into a match. So not to say that Gunk hasn't brought like amazing sets this season. I think he's one of the more creative coaches in the league, but and his team isn't anything to laugh about either. Like, he has Mega Dancy, he has a Heatran and a Zygarde and all those guys. So
Who does he have left on his schedule?
I think he still has. What does he have? He has
Eagle this week.
He has Eagle this week. So, rip.
I think they're playing on Friday.
Yeah, and then he has and then he has Mawwows for week 10, and then he has Hunter for week 11. So again, I don't know how much that says, but like, they're all really good coaches, and it's gonna be tough for like Gunk to try. Like, at this point, I think Gunk is kind of locked into dropping from A-League, but it's not like he should meme for the rest of the season. If he wants to, he can. But anyways, that's gonna be for him. We can move up to our number 11, and that's gonna be Swampy, the Seattle Swampards. So
yeah.
Where did we have you, Swampy? On the
I was ranked 6th initially.
Sixth, okay.
And I got to a good start, but after my match with Eagle, like, I had a couple matchup wise, like, it just kind of snowballed from there.
Yeah.
Peak SBT, by the way. Rank 11 in A-League is 3 and 6.
Yeah, rank 11 is 3 and 6, which is like
not even that bad. Rank 11 in B-League is 1 and 7.
Yeah.
Well,
and then in C League it goes up to
I also like, when I initially did my draft this season, new stuff.
Yes. I think your draft was amazing, honestly.
It hasn't worked out for the best. But I mean, I did make some changes initially.
Like
a lot of that, like, especially the games I've won, have been really close. Like, the only match I think I just got obliterated in was probably my match with Gene. But outside of that, like, my games have been fairly close.
Like, you can see there from your your kill leader. Sorry.
Yeah, the only one that I can see that's even on the list is Garchomp.
Garchomp there. Steela is on the standings, but like, I don't know if you've been able to make Steela kind of work in your favor this season.
No, not really. I mean, I've tried, and it hasn't worked out for the best. Yeah. Like,
people always love Celesteela because of like its versatility that it can do, especially with Open Z like we have. It's just sometimes it doesn't have the best matchup, or people prep the hell out of Cell Stealer. Like you see a Cell Stealer.
It doesn't help that I have types on my team.
Yeah.
So, and there's not really anything I can do about that at this point. But so I just tried to do the best with what I have.
Yeah.
Which I think I've done all right. I mean, my record kind of says otherwise, but like I said, a lot of the games have been fairly close.
Yeah. Well, the thing is again, like in A League, it's not over, right? Like you can still make. It's funny. You can still make playoffs.
I could still. I don't think I'll be able to make, but there's still a chance that I could at least get into the neutral zone. Because I'm really only one game out of 8th place.
4.
So, yeah. I mean, there's still a chance. I haven't looked at who I have on the schedule.
So let's look at it. You only have 2 more matches for this season.
Yeah, I have 2 more matches.
You have who do you have? You have Witchard for week 10, and then you have Tyler for week 11. So, again, like really good coaches for the ending there.
Yeah, for sure.
That actually leads us up to Richard for number 10. He is sitting at 3-5. Just one loss lower than Swampy's. So it's not like it's too much like a difference there. Really, it depends on just each week. Like it changes the entire thing. So Richard's sitting at 3-5. I think we had him pretty high up on the power rankings. We had him at like number 4.
Richard? Yeah, he was.
Yeah, I think he was number 4. And with him still sitting there, like it's not like it's too bad, because again, he was able to beat like the number 1 team in the league, being Simi last week, and it just goes to show, like, even the people at the bottom of the standings, they're still a threat. So you can't exactly underestimate anyone. And Witcher's team is still pretty decent. Like, he still has a lot of mons that he's able to make work. Like, I remember his Blastoise, it's sitting at 8 kills right now, and his Superior is sitting at still 6. So I think
he was actually useless.
Yeah, like I don't know if he was the most comfortable with his draft this season. To be fair, like him having Mew, just an amazing mon, and especially with him having Infernape, because Mew and Infernape, just 2 of the most diverse Pokemon in draft. I think they can pretty much do whatever they want. But I don't know if Wizard was had the creativity to actually make them work this season. So. But he can still climb into playoffs, like you said. Especially if Swampy can climb into playoffs, Wizard can as well. He still has Tyler this week, and then he still has you next week, Swampy, and then he has Jarl to end off the season. So. Who knows?
In other words, I could ruin a lot of people's ending of seasons.
That's exactly. Between me and Richard. Big match, because we're so close in the standings that it's you could determine if one of us is able to maybe not necessarily make playoffs, but at least get up to where we don't drop from A-League.
Exactly. Yeah. That's at this point, you can try for that. Everyone is so close that you kind of just have to hope for people to maybe lose some and then try to gain advantage over them. But that kind of leads us up to number 9 with the Memphis Mawals, and Righteous Mawals himself. He's sitting at the same record as Richard was. So where did we have him? We had him at number 9 actually.
I think he was. 9.
Yeah. And his team was pretty good. So.
And he's 9 in the standings right now. So.
Yeah, exactly. So we got another one right. But again, we were talking about creativity. I think Mawwiles is also one of the most creative coaches in the league.
I mean,
He's able
like
to.
if you look back on week 1, he brought what the Leafeon with Z Dig.
Yeah, Z Dig, Leafeon.
I got him to run that stupid bullshit.
He he's an interesting coach because he always has the tendency to bring out like some sort of like really weird heat shit with like low tier mons and make it work.
I think Mawwiles is all about heat. Like he just loves bringing stuff that
He tends to do stuff than most people.
yeah.
He got 6 kills on his Metaletta and 0 on his Mega Mawile. Like,
Yeah, like what's Mawwiles been doing for him there? I think so. Mawwiles has obviously used Mega Mawile before in the past, so I know he knows how to use it. But I guess he just didn't make it mesh with the rest of his team. The rest of his team, not being very bulky. Like yes, he does have Zygarde and Suicune. I understand like other mons can be bulky as well, but I think with Mega Mawile, you might need some cushions there so that Mawile isn't always like in the face of offensive pressure.
Right.
But
Yeah.
he just hasn't been getting kills with it. But that Entei, he's been doing well with that. So
it was pretty fire.
Yeah, and obviously Mawwiles can still make playoffs at this point. It's not like he's just sitting right outside of it. If he gets 3 more wins, like he's actually 3 more wins, and he's sitting exactly where I am right now with 6 wins. So
he has to play. He still has to play this. He is able to win.
The thing to note is that he's 3 and 5 positive differential. Like,
yeah,
he's getting
you look at Witcher has the same record, -5, and then obviously me with like 1 more loss is -12.
All of his losses have been like 1-0.
Exactly. Yeah, it's been very close. Like he's not by any means not a bad coach. So we look at his last 3 matches. He has Hunter left. He has Gunk left, and then he has me to finish off the season. So he could probably he can obviously make it work. He just has to kind of do what he does best and bring some heat.
Yeah. So number 8 we got
Jaro and Portland Timbers. I think we had him at number 8, which is funny. We had him at number 8 as well on the power rankings. So
yeah,
got that right. So what's interesting about Jaro is that he's 4-5. His the beginning of his season, it wasn't that great for him. Like he kept on losing, and then he won with 1 time, and now he's finally starting to gain some momentum again. So he's been doing well now. He still has a negative record, of course, but if he's able to win 2 more, I think Jaro's goal at this point is to kind of stay in A-League. And that was his goal last season as well, where he was kind of on the edge of almost dropping out, but at the last minute he was able to stay in A-League due to differential, and that caused Cheese to drop. But
it's like him or Cheese, yeah.
Yeah.
A series of unfortunate events.
Well, I mean, it happens, but I think Jaro's trying to go for that again. If he can win 2 more matches, his last 2 matches, then he can maybe win. And Jaro's been doing really well with his team. With his draft, it's been interesting for him because what's funny is that his Skarmory has more kills than his Tapu Koko, and
how is that even fucking possible? What?
Koko is 3 and 9.
Skarmory is 5 and 6. So
every match it's died.
That's ridiculous.
I don't know if he's just not finding his niche with Tapu Koko. He obviously has Raichu as well with Surge Surfer.
But Raichu is 1 and 4, so Electric Terrain Core is not working.
It's not. No. Yeah, it's not the people are prepping for it really, really great, and He has the Mamoswine too, which is obviously just a big threat in itself, and then the Volcanion. So he has a lot of good wall breakers, but I guess he just hasn't been making it work too well for him.
Who's he got left on his schedule?
He has two more matches, right? He has Simi, and then he has Witchard. So
Okay.
should be interesting. Like if he could try to win against Simi, then I think for sure he can stay in A League or maybe even make playoffs.
Yeah.
But have to see.
Well, yeah.
So we can move up. We have Skyquake at number 7 in his Lancaster Landers, and we had Sky actually at number 1 for the power rankings.
If I remember right, his roster actually looked pretty ridiculous.
Oh, his roster is like amazing. I have to face it this week. Actually, I think I'm facing it tomorrow. But he has like a lot of interesting stuff. Like his Terrakion has 14 kills. He's been able to make that work. His core, being like Tapu Fini, Ferrothorn, and Arcanine, and all that stuff. I think he really has a nice defensive core around Latios, and he's been using Tornadus very well, but he hasn't racked up too many kills. So he's sitting at 4-4 right there, but obviously he's a great coach. I think someone mentioned that he brings a lot of standard stuff, which it's like in draft when you can do anything with the mod. Bringing standard isn't like the best course of action, but he might be more comfortable just bringing standard stuff and making that work, because sometimes it's more about playing the game, and if you know how to play the game well, if you can read your opponent well, then you're able to get up on top. I think in order to be a good player in draft, you have to be able to know how to prep and play. So if his prep isn't on par with the other coaches, then it could mean some of his losses. But anyways,
a lot of standard stuff.
Yeah. But in any case, he still has 3 more matches. He's sitting at like a neutral record. So he has me this week, and then he has Hunter next week, and then his last opponent, I believe, is Eagle. So pretty hard schedule left. He has 3 coaches that are sitting at the top there. Speaking of Hunter, we can actually move up to him at number 6. And he has the same record as Sky, actually. 4-4 with the 0 differential.
Staring its ugly head again.
Yeah, they just haven't fought yet, so that's why Hunt is kind of sitting at 6 and Sky's at 7. They could obviously be interchangeable depending on whoever wins this week or next week. But
replaceable.
Sky. So Hunter, his season's been interesting, where he's been winning like 1 a couple weeks, and then he loses like 2, and then win 2, and then lose 2. So he's kind of bouncing around like that.
Well, he's we had him ranked 3 initially at PRs.
We had him number 3, and that's only reason is because of Mega Latios. But
Fuck
yeah.
He only got 10 kills with it, so
Yeah, he was able to get 10 kills. He's been able to make Scolpede work, at least. He planned from the beginning of his draft. I know that he wanted Scolpede, so he was able to make that work a couple of times. Obviously, Latios getting more kills for him, but
right.
Compete with the Mega Latios.
Who's he have left?
So his last 3 matches are, he has Mawwiles this week, and then he has Sky next week, and then he has Gunk. So
Okay.
It looks like interesting matchups for the last 3 weeks.
Right.
So, and if he can try to stay in playoff contention, he's been doing a good job keeping up in the top 6 so far.
He's in a good spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on, we've got number 5. We have Howtown Peaches.
We actually have Eagle at number 5. And for the longest while, like Eagle was sitting at number like 1 or 2, but we had him.
And
we had
we
him.
had him ranked 12 in
We
the
had
PR.
Yeah, dead last in the power rankings.
The only reason why that was the case was roster didn't look good on paper.
His roster, it didn't, like, from a standpoint view of someone trying to rank it, it didn't look great. But obviously he built it around a strategy. So
yeah, and we don't, like, when we do PRs, we don't factor like the skill level of the player.
Yeah, exactly.
If we did that, it would just be impossible to really say who's
exactly. Eagle is our last season champ, and we know he's a good coach. And it's, it kind of sucks that he traded out Mega Heracross. Like, he built his team around Mega Heracross, but he traded it for Mega Medicham, I believe.
It's just not good. Like,
I don't know. I mean, I remember another coach doing the same thing last season, but no, wait, it was 2 seasons ago. Where,
too, right?
yeah, Witchard had Zapdos and Ninetales, and he traded out his Mega Heracross for Mega Medicham. But you know what? It actually worked out for Witchard those 2 seasons ago, because he was able to climb up to. I think he was able to climb up to A-League, yeah. Anyways, I'm assuming because of Eagle's, kind of losing streak he's been going on, he isn't finding Mega Heracross the best. It is a nice wall breaker, but it's not fast enough, and the 4 times weakness kind of hurts it. And I don't think the core that he has.
And I remember when I had my him, like, fire and flying types were such a favorable matchup against him.
Yeah.
That,
like, adding Mega Heracross to the team, it's already a hindrance there. So, but anyways, like, Eagle's still sitting at number 5. He hasn't dropped from the top 6 since the beginning of the season. So, you know, I know that he's a good coach and he's able to kind of bounce up and whatever. But now he has Mega Medicham, so it's a bit scarier.
What does he have left on his schedule?
He still has Gunk this week, and then he has me next week, and his last match is against Sky in week 11.
Ooh, okay.
So a lot of tough matches. I haven't played him yet, and I kind of wish he had the Mega Heracross, because I have a Mega Pinsir. But anyways, we can move up to our number 4 coach. A coach that's been number 1 since the beginning of the season, but has now, you know, kind of fallen off a little bit. But yeah, one of the longest win streaks in A-League I've seen. We have Simi Chris in the Blue Collar Blossoms, and I believe we actually did have him pretty high up on the power rankings.
I'm pretty sure he was like 2, I think.
Yeah, I think we had him at 2.
Yeah, 2. Yeah.
And for good reason. Like, you look at his team, and his cores are insane to break. Where he has Umbreon, he has Melodic, Registeel, Gligar. I remember when I prepped him.
His team was in
like,
prepping for his team this week, and I was like, "There's no way I'm outspeeding this team."
And then he has like ridiculous speed on his team too. He has Lopunny, Zeraora,
yeah.
Anyways, like I said, you know, Simi's team, he's been able to make everything work. Zeraora getting him 11 kills. The Victini, he's really good with Victini, and Nihilego, just like how Stumbles is Nihilego, he's just as good.
Who does he have left on his schedule? We already played our match this week, so he has 2 matches. He has 2 matches left.
So he has Jaro left, and then he has Jean. So I think that last match is going to be a good one.
Yeah.
But, you know, if Jaro can clutch out that win, it's going to be hard for Simi to stay in playoff contention, which is weird to see Simi drop. But you know, again, he has a really good team, so maybe he can stay in there. He's 6-3. Like all the top coaches are all 6 wins right now, so it's not like he's too far behind. But even one loss is really devastating in A-League. So next up we have the number 3 coach in Ottawa Gengars and Gene, and I don't know if he's
right?
yeah, he's still
Yeah,
on the
I'm
call.
here,
Yeah. And where did we have Gene? We had Gene. We had him at number 7 in the power rankings, and you know he's obviously shown, like, Gene, you've proven to actually been a giant threat this season, especially with your draft. Want to talk about it for a little bit?
Well, my first draft, I wasn't like it was like a mini sandcore. Like I was kind of comfortable with it, but now like I made the changes, right?
Yeah,
The changes, I grabbed that Excadrill and Stoutland.
exactly, with the
And,
sand.
Like you see Excadrill right now with 7-1 with 3 matches played or something like that. So
Mhm.
I feel really comfortable with this team.
Yeah, you were able to get Aggron some kills, which is very surprising. And I think your team now, like with the changes you made, is so scary. Like
Like there's obviously the big weakness to ground and fighting,
yeah,
but I can play around that. No
Exactly,
problem.
not even to mention that you have a Haxorus. Obviously, it hasn't been getting too many kills, but that thing is just a giant threat. If you're able to just beat down the rest of your opponent's team and then bring in Haxorus in the late game, it just sweeps by itself. Like I don't know.
The thing is, like, what I love about this team is I have so many options. Like, let's say you prep against me. Okay, what do I prep for Aggron, who's going to bring maybe Sleep Curse Talk or Rock Polish, or do I prep for the Necrozma setup? Do I prep for Sand Rush Excadrill?
Yeah.
And if you over prep for one of those, then Axorus comes in and sweeps you.
or
like,
Volcarona comes in.
or Volcarona, yeah. Like I don't know.
I think you have a lot of offensive pressure, which in themselves are also very bulky. Like Aggron's so bulky, Necrozma is bulky. You can make Excadrill bulky, honestly. Volcarona can be bulky. Tyranitar's obviously, like, it's just a very well put together team.
And I have one of the counters for Mega Aggron and Necrozma and Haxorus.
Yeah, exactly.
And Jarrow had one of the others, and Pangoro, and it did a lot of work against me this week. So.
The Bandit Pangoro was able to put in some work, but anyways,
this mold breaker stuff, right?
Yeah. You were on a win streak for a while there, and obviously you ran up against that Pangoro, but sitting at 6-3, so like you're not too far.
But I have
from...
2 big matches left, so I need to at least win one of those, hopefully. So.
Who are your last couple matches?
Next week I have Tyler, and the week after that I got Simeon.
Oh yeah, Tyler and then Simi. Wow, so they're like 2 really like high up on the standings there.
Well, with number 2 and number 4, so yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, we can actually move up to Tyler, who's 6-2 right now, and he's number 2. And I think on the rankings, we actually have him at number 5. So it's not like we were too far off, I guess. Yeah, Tyler, if you have any words, you want to say anything about how your season was so far, you know, your draft is amazing. So.
Well, honestly, my draft, I wasn't really too familiar with it at the start. And then I made a few changes, and for some reason, everything seems to be working out now.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Like, I honestly started the season at 0-2.
Yeah.
So.
I think that's how your seasons normally start, though. Like, your draft initially, and then...
Well, I always like trying new mons when I draft, so I never really draft the same mon twice or like a lot. So I always try to get some new stuff, and I kind of have to get used to it, and I experiment a bit, and I lose my first or 2-3 first matches, and then when I get a bit more used to the team, it goes well.
Yeah.
Kieran Black is just a great mon that I've always loved, and
It's
I've
cool.
drafted it for like the third or fourth time now, but I couldn't pass it up at will. I have
Oh,
no
yeah, for
idea
sure.
how it got to me there.
Hey, I didn't want it a second time or a third time, sorry. So I kind of just let it go. But I mean, again, your cores are amazing. It's kind of hard to break, especially with having a toe kiss there, and then your sweepers are pretty legit. Like it's not over like overall. You see it on paper and it kind of doesn't seem scary, but you're constantly under pressure when you're facing Tyler's team. Like everything can come in and start applying like offensive pressure or just the pressure of setting up rocks or hazards, and it really makes it hard to get momentum. I remember when I played you, it was like so impossible to set up webs because everything that like I had to bring in Araquanid on offensive pressure, and I couldn't do that because like Araquanid wouldn't outspeed anyone after that. So
Yeah.
but I think it's just a really put together draft, so well put together.
And like, it doesn't show on paper, but one of my favorite mons that I think puts in the most work is actually Mega Scizor.
Yeah, it's only gotten the one kill. Like I remember having Mega Scizor last season, and to be fair, like I understand some people know how to use it to just like set up swords dances and sweep, but in a meta, like in the A-League draft meta, where a lot of coaches know how Scizor works and they're gonna have a lot of coverage for it, it's really hard to set it up, especially when things have HP fire or a lot of fire coverage. There's not too much they can do. Like that's why it's always kind of better to bring the bulky pivot set, because like you can use it to just be a gigantic wall, and then you turn out into something that you know is going to be a threat. So,
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, you're sitting at number 2 right now. Easily could be number 1. You know, again, like the top 5, I think can all like be changed up. But you still have what, 3 more opponents? You have Witcher this week. Tyler, you
Witcher
also
this week,
have
Gene next week,
Gene next
and
week.
I'm finishing up my season against Swampy.
Swampy next the week after. So yeah, pretty difficult couple weeks left.
Every
and then-
match in A-League is difficult.
Yeah, exactly.
This is true. I mean, there's really no like.
There's
off-
there's no easy week in A-League.
There isn't one match this season that I told myself, alright, I get this win. Like,
Yeah.
I actually have to prep for every match, and I prep hard, and I
Yeah,
actually have
exactly.
to get ready for every single match, or else I know I'm probably gonna lose it.
Again, if you don't prep like a beast in A-League, you're probably gonna have a negative record. So, anyways, we're gonna move up to the last coach, which is me. Durham Dragonair is number 1. Yeah, I'm sitting at number 1, so I'm pretty happy. But I know that you guys had me. Well, we had myself at number 10 in the power rankings, and I can understand why. Again, like my team it had a lot of the same things that Eagles drafted. It was built around a strategy, not around like synergy per se. But I kind of changed it up a little bit. I moved around a couple things, and now I have some like special wall breakers. So I think it's changed a lot of its roles. Like I had Bronzong originally with Stakataka, and although I like those two together because they kind of cover each other's weaknesses, I just wasn't using Bronzong at all, and I'd rather have use for like something else. So, but I've been loving Mega Pinsir this season, and Araquanid. I think they're amazing. Those two bugs. Anyways, let's just wrap up this section with my last couple matches are Skyquake this week, and then Eagle next week, and then Mawwow's in the final week. So again,
A-League is just crazy.
some difficult matches, especially like Eagle next week is gonna be insane. My matches against Eagle always end like in a 1-0, so I don't know. Anyways, I know we talked about each coach in very great depth. Let's jump into the kill leaders, guys. So we're gonna look over our number 1 and that's going to be Megalodios, which is no surprise, is sitting at 42 kills and 11 deaths out of all 3 leagues. It's just insane that how many kills they can get with Ryan and Zombie and Hunter. They all have over 10 kills with it. Yeah, just a devastating mon that might not even come back next season. Who knows? But who knows? It's gonna be it's always a tough mon to have to face. So number two, we got Tapu Koko, sitting at 28 kills and 15 deaths. Again, like Tapu Koko is always going to be sitting at the top of the kill leaders with just a very good revenge killer. Cell, Stumbles, and Jaro, they all had him, and they will put some work in with them. So again, a great mon to just always come in late game and win. And then number 3, we actually have Kieran Black, another mon that's pretty much a staple to any kill leaders. It comes in, it gets off a big Z move or clicks whatever and then gets it killed, but it's 26 kills and 12 deaths. Obviously, Rizzo and Tyler and Rummy have been doing a lot of work with him. And just a gigantic threat whenever it wants to come in and take lives. Number 4, we have the Mega Charizard X, so another dragon type, as if we don't have enough here. We have him at 22 kills and 7 deaths, and Star and Stumbles, just amazing work with them. Star's been able to kind of sweep with him, and Stumbles has just been using him to kind of wall break, and doing a good job at that as well. So very, very strong, sitting at number 4. At number 5, we have the Superior. Interesting one to see, but Superior is always a very nice win condition if you get rid of your opponent's responses to Leaf Storm. So, it's sitting at 20 kills and 7 deaths, with Gryon, getting a lot of kills in his division, and then Witchard and Rummy obviously getting as many kills as they can get. Serp, not one of those mons that you see too often in the top there, but again, if it sets up, it's just a big threat, especially with how fast it is. So, number 6, we have Zeraora, and again, it's just these faster mons that can come in late game or just revenge kill. They're always able to get some kills. So this is sitting at 20 kills and 14 deaths. Zeraora, one of those tier 2s that you expect to be tier 1, but I still think it's an amazing tier 2. Simi and Ryan and Blitz, they all have him there and are doing an amazing job with them. Especially with OpenZ, if you can just use him as your Z user, it's just a force to be reckoned with, especially if it sets up a bulk up, or if it even has Life Orb, it's a lot scarier. So, number 7 there, we have Tornadus Therian, and sitting at 19 kills and 14 deaths. Tornadus, once again, OpenZ moves make it just a gigantic threat. You can basically just run Z Hurricane for most weeks and just get a chunk off with the Z move. Ganon having him and doing a lot of work with him. Cheese and Sky also having him. They obviously added up to its initial kills there. Number 8, we have another Genie. We have Landers Therian, sitting at 18 kills, 14 deaths. Again, it's just one of those mons that if you scarf them, if you make them Z move, you can really clean up late game or just break early game. I have them, so does Zombie and Ryan, and all this kind of just putting in work with them. Number 9, we have Terrakion, and another big threat, sitting at 17 kills and 7 deaths. Across all 3 leagues, Sky actually has 14 kills with them. The other 2 coaches, being Cell and Rummy, haven't been able to really get him going, but Sky, I think he knows how to just bring him in whenever he needs to, and just win with his dual stabs, especially if he's Z move or Scarf. And then at number 10, we have a gigantic threat at Victini, sitting at 16 kills and 12 deaths. Gryon, Simi, and Aces, they all have him and able to really do some damage with them. Again, the banded set, always a big threat if you want to wall break with them. Hard to sweep with them, but really just having V-Create and his dual stabs are just very threatening. So
Good old banded V-Create always hurts.
exactly. So that's going to be the end of the kill leaders, guys. So I think with that, I'm probably going to end this recap right here. I hope we've covered mostly everything. I know we didn't actually go over a lot of the matches, but really it's tougher to go over some of the more pivotal matches, especially if we have to talk about each coach in depth. So so there could be something else devoted to that later, but who knows. Anyways, I think this is going to be us signing off for now. Alright guys, so that's going to be it. Stay tuned for some more SBT content, and enjoy it.